Well, I figured I'd do a little walk around here of my 1980 Yamaha XS 850 that I got from my neighbor, or my dad's neighbor, uh, also known as Badass Boris. It was his old bike. And so I switched it over to fuel injection and put a turbo on it, just like I do with everything. So yeah, this thing's rated at 80 horsepower in stock form. It's a 3-cylinder, air-cooled. So basically what I ended up doing was putting a micro squirt ECU on it. I got the panels off here so I can kind of show you some stuff. Basically, I looked on eBay and I found some throttle bodies that looked in the picture like they might work off of a 05 or 06 Triumph Daytona 650, which is a 3-cylinder sport bike. So I bought the key and throttle bodies off of that and got some wiring harness stuff as well. And then at my old work, I fabbed up some sheet metal aluminum, made an airbox. Shout out to Josh Borg-Wernerson for the welding on that, all the TIG welding, turned out pretty good. And then the turbo is off of it's the same turbo that I put on my CRX. It's a Mitsubishi TD0413C. Somehow I still know that. I think they're originally on like Volvo cars, like early 90s Volvo 940, I think is one of them. So it's got a integrated wastegate and had an integrated like recirculation valve, but the diaphragm was torn, so I bought a blockout plate, which they make for like 10 bucks on eBay, and then just fit a regular blow-off valve in there, but it doesn't really sound as good as I was hoping. But it works. And then made this header. It's definitely not my best work, but it works. You don't really see it too much. So 3 into 1, and then it goes up above the just above the head, and then squeeze it between the gas tank and the frame. The V-band. Made a little flange here at work as well, T4. And then got a wideband O2 sensor set up from Ecotrons. This is the website. They sell like a standalone deal for like 90 bucks that has the 0 to 5 volt output on it. So I wired that into the micro squirt ECU, which is right there, in place of the stock like ignition box used to be right there. So that worked out pretty good. It just barely fits there with the cover on. And then I got a $20 inline eBay fuel pump for a car, 12 volt deal, works pretty good so far anyway, hasn't left me stranded. And then a fuel pressure regulator, which is, I think this is off like a, I don't know, like a Mitsubishi car, like, pretty much they're all the same. But, and so then to make the fuel system work right, because I didn't, want to put a fuel pump in the tank and all that stuff and, modify everything around in case it didn't work right, I ended up just using the dual petcock outlets and basically ran one line in between them, and then the return line for the regulator goes back into that like return line in between, so it's kind of like a separate little miniature like fuel sump that it's so it all circulates right outside of the tank, and then it draws from both sides of the tank, so you can run the thing all the way down to the last drop, and it'll get it all. And then the oil feed for the turbo, I teed off the line, the hard line going up to the cylinder head. It was a 1/4 inch line, so I just got a brass fitting with some compression fittings and converted over to 4AN. That worked out just fine. For a crank sensor, I should have pulled this cover off to really show you, but I have like a homemade sheet metal disc that's like a 9-hole little sheet metal disc that spins inside of a what the heck is it, like a Hyundai or Kia Sorento or something crank sensor, which I just grabbed the cheapest one off eBay for 10 bucks or whatever, made a bracket for it and a little piece on the lathe to mount it to the crank so it spins with it, and that all worked out pretty good. And got a intake air temp sensor right here off of I think like a early 2000s Dodge Ram, just the cheapest one on eBay, and just recalibrated it for the micro squirt. The fuel injectors are the stock Triumph injectors, but they didn't flow enough on E85 under boost, and so I actually I decapped them where you grind off the like the little diffuser plate on the bottom, and basically made them like a wide open pinto valve. So they seem to flow enough, at least for now. There's the wideband setup right here, and then I got this just like Amazon or eBay fuse panel thing. Can't really see. It's got like 4 or 5 blade style fuses. And then this is my GM 2-bar map sensor, which you can't really see in the dark too well, but it's there. And the ignition coils are off of Silverado LS coils from